What does the law say?
Well, there's really anything in Nigeria that the laws in Nigeria do not actually affect or already speak about. First thing, the police does not have the right to check your phone. They can search you, like for example, to be sure that you're not holding a gun or something.
Okay.
But going through the content of your phone is beyond their powers. Then also people do not know that in Nigeria, as an employee, if you work as a tool on your mental health, you actually have an action under the law to get damages for mental stress from your employer. People do not know that in Nigeria, a woman cannot be legally employed in work during the night.
What does the law say?
For most people, trouble doesn't always start when you're in the police station or when you're necessarily on the wrong side of the law. It could start with a signature, a voluntary one for that matter. We've seen and we've heard cases whereby people lost their life's work, their generational wealth, their properties, sometimes their life, from the wrong use of their pen. We young Nigerians that are navigating our life, it could be when you get a job without a contract, when they say, oh, don't worry, we're going to handle that later, when you work and don't get paid, or better still, when you are fired without a notice. That reminds me, there was someone on X that said he got fired through a voice note. Well, today's episode isn't just about law. It's about the inevitable legal issues that young Nigerians, freelancers, and everyday people face. From whether you're in the boardroom or in the police station, like they say, if you don't know your rights, someone else is going to price it for you. Joining us on the Novice Podcast is someone who built his brand from making legal literacy interesting and funny, yet accurate. He is a lawyer, he is a content creator, and also a public law advocate. He's here to serve us 2 portions of rice and tell us what the law says. Please welcome Timi Agbaje.
All right. Good day, everybody. I am Timi Agbaje. I'm a lawyer and I'm a storyteller. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me in Nairametrics. I don't think you know the meaning of 2 portions of rice, because if you know the meaning of 2 portions of rice, you will not be saying, I cannot serve you 2 portions of rice.
You tell us what it is now.
So, 2 portions of rice, the way it sounds, does it sound like something that if you want to eat or like something?
Yeah, I like 5 portions though.
No, 2 portions of rice is like, this is what 2 portions of rice means.
Oh my God,
Yes.
guys, for real.
But it's all right. It's calm. It's calm. Thank you very much for having me, Nairametrics, and everybody watching the podcast. It's so big and beautiful to be here today. Thank you.
It's great to have you on my show. So today, like I've introduced, for these professional young people that are navigating our lives, we already got the job, but we're not legally exposed. Do you understand? We don't know things that we should know in the legal part of our jobs. For example, why is employment law something not recognized in Nigeria? And if it's recognized, why are we not practicing it in Nigeria?
Employment loan?
Law.
I beg to differ. There's really anything in Nigeria that the laws in Nigeria do not actually affect or already speak about, except the new trending issues. For example, there are some new legal issues. For example, AI can create videos and images of people without their permission now. Like, you can do stuff. These are emerging issues that the law needs to catch up with. Okay. Surrogacy, for example, there's no big law about it in Nigeria about how to protect the ethical problems that can arise from it. For example, the people that are doing it. But most things that pertain to life in general in Nigeria, there are a plethora of laws. In fact, I dare to say that Nigeria has too many laws that we don't have repealed laws. There are some laws that are from 1960-something, 1980-something, 1990-something, and they are still being used till today because they're not repealed. So employment law is not what they call it. They call it labor law.
Okay.
Yeah, labor law. So labor law is big and beautiful in Nigeria. You go to National Industrial Court every day. There are labor issues almost every time. If you are very familiar with that Labor Congress, when they go on strike, those are labor issues. If you know about ASU strike, those are labor issues, and they have been in existence for as far as anybody can remember in Nigeria. So, we have labor law in Nigeria, well pronounced, well spelled out, and people apply them, people that know how to apply them here.
Okay, so are you trying to say that if being fired without a good reason or without a notice, I can actually sue my organization for that.
Yes. But it's always depending on the circumstances, because when people tell you a story and then people have their own version of the story, and then there's a part of what the law says. That's why I try to say, what does the law say? Because sometimes people try to blend emotions, morality, or opinions into what the law says. Sometimes the law doesn't care about all of those things. Sometimes, and the law just says, if it's like this, it's like this. So, for example, labor issues and labor disputes are mostly regulated by contract.
Okay.
What does a contract of employment that you sign with them say? For example, in some employment, they will tell you that if you're employed before you can resign or say you're not doing the work again, you have to give them a month's notice or a salary leave. That means that you're willing to forfeit salary or pay salary of that 1 month that you're not going to be there, or you're going to tell them that, by the ending of this month, and you're going to tell at the beginning that by the end of this month, I'm not going to be coming to this work again, I'm leaving or whatever. So if you follow the due procedures, you are safe. But also, on the other side, so if they follow the due procedure, they're safe. But if any of you violates that, somebody has to answer for it.
Speaking of contracts, I don't know, for you, it might be something you like to read, but for the everyday Nigerians, it could be bulky, and some people get to have contracts when they are having a business, why some people do not. But what are the non-negotiable things that we should look out for? Just scan through. Okay, this is my contract. What are the non-negotiable things that we should look out for when we have a contract?
I'll get to the question. I just want to address the fact that a lot of people think contracts are bulky, but the most contract that people get to come across in their day-to-day business and their living are not bulky contracts. I just think people do not have the basic knowledge of understanding the basic rights. So, for example, I review some contract for some of my clients, and then it's just English. Mm-hmm. And if you just pay attention, if you just read in between the lines, you can tell that someone's trying to sneak in something that is not supposed to be here. But because a lot of people, when they see book or when they see English or stuff, nobody just wants to pay the stress and stuff. And I feel like all of us should have basic understanding and timing to be able to go through these things, because it's not every contract that you're going to be able to afford a lawyer to help you review or go through. For example, there's a popular video editing app right now that they just updated the terms of use, and something there could put you in problem if you're a photographer or a cinematographer. I should do something about it very soon. So back to your question. Basic contract, what you should look out for, basic contract of employment. I think the first thing is compensation. Like, what's your gross pay and net pay? People sign contract of employment and they don't even know the difference between the gross and the net. And that's bad. Like, you shouldn't sign a contract that you're going to be putting your days and working hours monthly or weekly into, and you don't understand the basic metrics of what applies to you there. Also, compensation. I think termination, like if you want to terminate the contract on either side, as the employee or the employer, what is the process to it? Nature of employment. First and foremost, about employment generally in Nigeria, I feel like most of us, I don't want to say all of us in Nigeria, but most of us in Nigeria are underemployed. Underemployed means that you are not getting enough remuneration for what you deserve, for what you work, for the work you put into. But it's not the fault of the employer, so to say. Sometimes it's the economy and the system that we find ourselves. Okay. For example, in developed countries, some of those countries that are developed that we look up to, some of their big companies don't actually employ people in that country that are resident or full citizens. They have to sometimes export the labor or go to another country and go and they open a factory there. They will because they cannot afford to pay the people in their own country that are like actual working people. Because, for example, you can get manual labor cheap in some places, and then a normal person in a developed country tell you that if I'm giving you 20 hours of my life, you should be able to pay me this and that, and that affects the end product and the pricing of the product. So as a business person, they have to be able to cut their costs and be able to increase their profit. So generally, it's not like it's a Nigerian problem. It's something that other countries are able to work around it. But like Nigeria, it's a beautiful country. Yeah, blessed country. So compensation, termination, nature of employment. Like nature of employment means that this is where the job description and title comes into play. In a lot of countries in Nigeria, in a lot of contracts, the contracts are like umbrella contracts. Like the contract that you get as, let me give you a big example, a basic example. In this podcast studio, for example, if you are being employed as a host, you are different from the producer of the show. Yeah. You are different from the production manager. You are different from the person in charge of lights and different from the person that is in charge of sound. Mm-hmm. If you are signing an employment contract that makes you be able to act in the stead of everybody, you need to ask questions and be specific. So compensation, termination, nature and types of employment, vacation and leave, because even the law understands that every human being deserves some sort of break or rest. If it's 5 days in a year or 20 days in a year in total, you need to have that specification in the stuff. Okay. Then other things are the benefits that accrue to you from working in the employment.
All right.
Yeah.
But what of this NDA? What about NDA and things like that? There are other terms that I can't think of right now.
NDA is not a must to be in a contract. There are some contracts that they will not need an NDA. But for example, some businesses, because they have trade secrets or they have information that they want to keep confidential, it's just right for them to put the NDA clauses there. Because, for example, the fact that you left in bad blood does not mean you can go online and go and spill all the secret or the trade information or secret of the company. Sure. So NDA is the right thing to do if they have confidential information or trade secret to protect.
But I get this for the employers, and also the professional workspace. What about your other job, like your content creation, the influencers and the freelancers? Most of them, they really take the end of the sticks, because I have friends that are influencers that, in fact, let me give you one short gist. She wanted to do a content for someone, and because of the repetition of, clients always holding her money and also not fulfilling their promises, she had to she did a video and covered the video so that they can just watch it, but they can't post it. That can't be a long-term way of protecting herself as a content creator. So what ways can content creator and freelancer legally protect themselves?
So we need to understand that the law has given an enabling environment to all of us. So content creators, influencers, creative, they fall under what we call the informal sector. Okay. We have the formal sector, people that wear suit and tie. The informal sector, I mean the informal sector too. Like we have the informal sector comprised of people like you and I. We are content creators, we're storytellers, we have plumbers, we have mechanics, we have people that they don't have an office, so to say, but they have a place of work that they go to. And they also contribute to the economy to move forward. Okay. So how to protect yourself is very simple. You need to understand the nuances of the industry that you operate in. You need to be able to, so the way music producers, for example, you want to give you a beat, they put their signature and name tag on that beat so that you will take that beat anywhere. Their name tag is popping on the beat. And then for a content creator like that, your friend, for example, she can easily do a video, for example, for a brand and put a preview watermark on it. Okay. Anybody that sees that video anywhere else knows that this is not meant to be out in public space. So you put a preview on that video, you submit it to them, and before it's terms of service. Oh, thanks for contacting me for me to do this video for you. You pay 70% deposit or 50% deposit. Upon approval of the content by your brand, I'll be receiving my balance before posting. Okay. So that way now, the metrics go around and everybody's happy. The brand gets what they paid for. They're able to approve it. They have a say in the creative process, and everybody's on the same page. I get my balance and I post. But
what if this communication was held on WhatsApp? Can it be a contract?
Of course. So
I can take a screenshot and say, oh yeah, this is what you said.
If somebody threatens you on WhatsApp, are you not going to report to the police?
I will.
So I think that people try to dummy down some things because it applies to maybe English and work stuff, but when it's serious stuff, you take it up. If somebody sends you a voice note on WhatsApp and tells you that I will take care of your life, I will take care of your life and I will deal with you next week, you will report to the police and you play that voice note to them and you find the person to get them arrested. So why not? So it's just that it's always easier to track. For example, your WhatsApp chat can wipe. That's why people prefer email threads. For example, you have an email communication with them. Even 10 years or 20 years time, you don't need to bother yourself with backing it up. You just have to log into your email. You have all of those information there. So it's always easier to put it on easy to trail patterns than to put it on. If you lose your phone, God forbid, or maybe something happened, your phone is not working anymore, and you don't have access to WhatsApp again. It's a lot of long stories. So it's always easier when it's like on a pattern to document and easy to trail.
Wow. We're going to enter the juicy part of this conversation. But before that, people believe, I've heard people say, I'm not a lawyer, I don't need to know the law, and, it's an excuse, whereas it's something that could cost them a lot. So I know you've experienced, and definitely people would have sent you funny DMs, but can you give us like a real life scenario whereby people could have avoided, being caught up in a situation, losing their money or going to the police station because of lack of legal knowledge?
I'll first start with opposing premises. First is ignorance of the law is not an excuse anywhere. Then number two is no one can be smart enough. no one can be careful enough. No matter how smart or careful you are, even lawyers also have times that we're like, oh man, I should have done better. So I mean, like I feel like it's finding a balance. And it's very tough to obey the law. I'm being honest. Sometimes it's tough because it's hard work. It's not the easy way out. It's not the easiest route. Like for example, if you put a speed limit on the highway, even Lake Ekwe, for example, and you put 50 kilometers, I think Lake Ekwe is 50 kilometers or 60 kilometers. For people to abide by that 60 kilometers or 50 kilometers, especially when you just buy a new car and the car is like a V6 or a V8, like you want to test it, you're under the urge. But the reason why the law exists is because of consequences. So when people know that, there are consequences for my action, people comport. There's no way in the world that people have a free will to do anything. There's a system that makes sure that people abide. And that's why they abide. We are human beings. Even inside the Bible, God gave Adam and Eve the entire garden of Eden. Say, just the chop, just the lavish, nothing. Say, but only thing, don't go to that tree. Now that tree, they won't go to. Because it's a human nature. Human nature is curious. If, for example, we open an event center and we put 1,000 chairs there and put only one chair and put a red cloth on it and say, everybody can sit anywhere, but this red chair, don't sit on it. Everybody wants to know why I can't sit down there. Why are you telling me that I should not sit down? So I feel like it's not easy to abide by the law. So examples of when people should have known better, that have had experiences of, and they won't lead into the problem is, it's on both sides, both brands and then people. So for example, I once had a situation whereby they had altercation. So let me give you an example. They rented an apartment. I represent some people, so let me not use my client because it's not easy to. My client has to be protected. But let me give you an hypothetical scenario.
All right. Then.
So, two people renting an apartment. One person is the one that sponsored the apartment. So, for example, I'm your brother and you're my sister. So I rent an apartment for you.
Okay.
Then in the house, there were light and meter issues because it was a new house. The meter was not yet brought by the people that were supposed to bring the meter. So you guys are probably just doing the old way of contributing money and paying for light. And then when they come, you contribute money until your meter is sorted. And then somebody said, you delayed in payment for 2 days. And the other person went to bring down and cut off your light.
Wow.
Wrong. Because you don't have a right to cut off another person. You're not working with the power holding company or any of those private companies that control the electricity. Then I, as your brother, now came and was like, what do you mean by cutting off my sister's light? And I go there and I tell you that I'll deal with you, I'll show you. That person now goes back and says, I came to threaten her life. I mean, it's not that clear cut, but I'm a guy. And that woman says that I came to her house and I tend to beat her up and stuff, and all, people will listen to her. Yeah. So I feel like even though when you're angry, you have to be careful of the words you use or throw around, because you never can tell what could go wrong the next minute. So you should be able to be accountable for it. Now, also for photographers, for example, when a photographer snaps a picture of, let me say, the easiest way to avoid all of this problem is for informal sector people, you are not too big or too small to have a small term of service or contract for what you do.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are scared. And I'll tell you why. They are scared that when they bring up issues of contract or agreement, their clients may run away. So they don't want to bring it up at all. Yeah. And what happens when something goes wrong? What do you refer to? How do you resolve it easily? So I always feel like if people know that any business that you do, so for example, people that are petty traders, a mechanic, for example, if you say mechanic, my car has issues, he will tell you that you go to Ladipo or somewhere to go and price it. Once he prices it, you will send him money and he will buy it and come and fix it. And he will tell you, my workmanship, or they will call it Owoshe, is this amount of money. It's informal. He's already telling you his own term of service. A mechanic will not take money out of his own pocket and go and buy you parts and bring it for you. Now, people in other businesses that are more organized than that need to understand that. So, you, I like your pictures on Instagram. I like to have a family portrait, or me and my wife want to do a pre-wedding shoot with you. How much does it pay? How much does it cost? We do portrait session for 1 hour, one outfit for this particular amount of money. If you're going to be collecting more than 4 edited pictures, it is this amount of money. So when people already have our understanding, conflicts reduce, and people not understanding themselves is always easier to eliminate. But I feel like people always assume that I'm not, my business is not that big enough, I don't need the contract, people will run away. I just feel like people need to understand that just put small structure of paper and just spell it out. Yeah, it makes everything better.
Wow. Informal people, you guys are enjoying all this information. But before we go on a quick commercial break, I want to paint the scenario for you. All right. for back to the professional people, imagine you're just working in your office and you have like a misunderstanding or you're wrongfully accused of something and Lorocon, you find yourself in police station. Okay. What is the first thing that you as an individual should do? What should I do at the moment that I'm at the police station?
So I always feel like these answers are not clear-cut. They're not yes or no answers, or they're not like direct polar questions. So always determined by the circumstances of the matter at hand. There are some issues that you don't even need a lawyer. You just have to talk to the officer, say, officer, how far, waiting up, no be waiting happen with that. But it's always easier if you have maybe a brother, a sister, someone around you that is not the person in the problem that can also mediate. But if it's a serious issue, call a lawyer and a lawyer understands the language. A lawyer understands that, this thing. So let me give an example. You're owing me money.
Okay.
And then I'm not paying the money. It's not the business of the police. It's a civil matter.
Okay.
But you're owing me money. You're not paying my money. And I come to your house. You're not threatening my life or you do something to assault me. Now, that's a police issue.
Okay.
Now, if you carry that kind of matter to the police, I mean, first of all, everybody will be, tensions will be high, pressure will be high. But a simple lawyer or a simple elderly person or a friend that understands how to manage crisis can go there and say, we are so sorry. Okay, how long can you take to pay back the money of this person? Can you undertake that you pay back their money and apologize and write that you will never assault them or attack them and nothing will happen to them through you? And that matter is settled.
Okay.
There are also some situations that you need a lawyer to represent you. So it's always about the circumstances that determine the gravity of interference. So they lie against you, for example, something basic. So it's also about the lie. For example, if they lie that you said that my husband is cheating on me and he's not cheating on me, it's a very basic stuff that can be ironed out.
But they say whatever you say or do
can be used against you in court of law, depending on the circumstances also. For example, they catch you at the crime scene. God forbid, not you. They catch a person at the crime scene,
guys.
And the person carries out a gun and say, yes, now me shoot him, now me taking life, and you still shoot up again. I mean, when the police is writing and giving statements in court against you, they will tell you that the accused person confessed at the scene of the crime and said he did this and he did this. So now it makes it harder for your rebuttal and your defense people to be able to defend your That's why they always say that whatever you see or use against you can be. But most times, that thing is copy and paste. A lot of people that even say it don't even understand what they're saying. But it's always about the circumstances of what's at hand that like determines what happens.
Okay, so but I believe, I don't know if that's why it's a Novice podcast. You can't hold someone hostage or what? Sorry, it's not the word hostage. You can't hold somebody in the police station for more than 24 hours, or is it 48 hours? Or how does it work?
So the law says reasonable timing. So reasonable timing because of the fact that it's expected that there should be a police station around you for 24 to 48 hours, kilometers max, like radius, kilometers, movement. Because, for example, there are some cities and towns that, let me give you an example. Because as a citizen, you have a power to arrest. It's called citizens of private arrest. So a vigilante, that's what they do. If a vigilante catches a thief in an environment, they will arrest the thief. But then by morning, they will hand over the thief to the police station and give their out who are guarding the area. And then this guy came and he was trying to rob and we caught him.
Okay.
Now, there are some areas or towns that the nearest police station to them, they probably have to board a vehicle or to probably take a long journey to the place. So you now don't have the right to keep that person in your town till you are ready to go and drop the person in the police station. So that's examples of why that law of reasonable timing must happen. Also, the police keeping you, police most times now understand that people know better, so they should not keep you more than a day or two, except, for example, there is a need for further investigation. Then they apply to a court for a remand order to keep you.
Okay.
So they won't just keep you, they won't just lock you up. I go to station sometimes, I see people that are there and then people don't literally know their rights and people do not seek help. Because I mean, like, I feel like if you ask questions and then just asking somebody, my brother has been held in this police station for the past 3 weeks and they're not doing anything about it. And I know people would be able to tell you that, no, this is not supposed to be, it's supposed to be because the police naturally, because the police station itself is not built to keep the same people there for a long time.
Yeah.
The cell system that we run Nigeria, you can go to police station and they just go check it out. If they will allow you.
I've tried.
You've tried, okay, good. The cells are not built, they are not big, they are not built for people to be there for long. It's supposed to be like a holding center. They process you to the court or they administer bail on the person and the person go to court from there. Like, it's not supposed to be where they will keep 5 people for 3 weeks. It's not accommodated for that.
For that, yeah. So, what of bail? You know, we hear bail is free. you can bail yourself. What exactly? To be honest, I don't know, and I'm sure my audience needs to know
By
what
law,
bail is.
By law, bail is free.
Yeah.
But like I tell people, administration of bail is not free. Bail itself is free, but administration of it is not free. So in the sense that I don't want to speak evil or ill about Nigerian police, because Nigerian police, I won't lie to you, people, some of them are good officers, some of them are gallant officers, and without the police, I don't think we'll be able to even enjoy peace like this. So kudos to the good officers doing the good work. We also have some bad eggs in the police that they need to be reoriented. They need reorientation, and they need training on what it means to actually be a police officer, because you're a peace officer. You're not supposed to be on the aggressive or the attack every time. You are not for violence. You are the person that's supposed to be. If I'm running from thieves and I see police, I should be happy that officer, thank God.
Police is your friend.
In that place, 5 people they try to pursue me, and I'm supposed to find succor and peace in that person.
Okay.
So bail is free. Administration of bail is not free. Bail is free. Administration of bail is not free.
Explain.
Read between the lines and decode it yourself.
Okay, we'll leave that for Matthias, right?
I don't know. But I mean, you know what I mean. Bail is actually free. Like, I mean, if you go to any police station, they write it there. 2 things are always there. Police is your friend. Bail is free.
Then you read between the lines.
Then administration of bail is not free.
You guys, so much tease has been spilled here, but we'll go on a quick commercial break and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the conversation, and we still have Timi here with us. So, Timi, let's paint this scenario. Yeah, I like to paint, but let's paint this scenario that you went out and you're just coming back from a party with your friends or a hangout with your friends, and then you got stopped by the police, and they check your phone, and next thing they ask you to enter their vehicle, and next thing you just settle. You understand? So, like, why do you think Nigerians usually settle rather than fight for their legal rights?
All right. First thing, the police does not have the right to check your phone without a warrant or an order of court. Like, it's your private possession. You're not meant to. They can search you, like, for example, to be sure that you're not holding a gun or something.
Okay.
But going through the content of your phone is beyond their powers. Second thing, in that situation at night, and then you're alone, and then the police stops you, you're even coming with your friends, and they are armed, you're not armed, I would advise peaceful settlement at that point. Then you can, the next morning, just try to find out their name tags, or try to know their faces, or find a way to get their picture. Just find someone that you can be able to track or trace them, because it would be unwise for you to fight people that have guns. Things can go wrong, and things can go wrong very fast. And when they go wrong, we might not be able to reverse it. Even if you get justice for the money that you lost, what about if lives or injuries have happened, or lives lost or injuries have happened? So the police doesn't have a right to check your phone. Try to set it amicably and let that thing go. Then find your way to get justice back if you have to.
You know, people budget. People budget for things. We budget for hair, for clothes, for things like that. But can you budget for legal case? Like, just ahead, okay, I'm just budgeting in case I get into trouble.
That's what people call retainer. I think that there needs to be a reorientation. You don't need a lawyer when you have troubles. People that have money, want to protect themselves, their investment, they need lawyers. People that do businesses that require their rights to be licensed to people, they need lawyers. For example, you're an artist, you want to do business with producers, you want to get your publishing, you want to get your image right, you want to get a couple stuff, you want to get endorsement contract, you need a lawyer for that. So lawyers are not just for, it's just like people that think that, I don't want to use other examples. Let me stick on law. Law is the best and the most noble profession in the world. Sit it out. You don't need a lawyer only when you are in trouble or when you're trying to avoid trouble. For example, you're into corporate commercial business, you need a lawyer to be able to register your company, file your annual returns, be sure that you're compliant with the things you're meant to do, and due diligence for you properly. So, I mean, I don't think that lawyers are only needed when you need trouble. But for budget, you can easily approach a lawyer and ask for their retainer fee and put them on retainer. So that means, for example, if you put a lawyer on retainer for a year, whatever legal needs you have for that year, as long as the retainer covers it, you're sorted. You don't need to start looking for a lawyer when it pops up or when it arises. So, yeah.
But if nothing arises, are you going to roll over my money to the next year, or?
I don't think that's how retainer works. I think retainer is like a yearly or for a specific time frame. So it's also not financially wise for you not to think and not to do anything that will involve a lawyer and just go and pay money for retainer. You can do a specific. So specific is general is from this time to this time. Let me know when you general specific so I won't confuse you. For example, you can easily do, if you know that you don't need a lawyer for anything, just have a rapport with the lawyer that, oh, I don't have a lawyer for an immediate need now, but in case anything pops up, I'd like to reach out to you. What kind of law do you practice so that if anything pops up, I will know why I'm reaching out to you or your line of expertise. And you're good. You can have a cordial relationship. But also, the lawyer does not owe you loyalty or anything until you pay his retainer. So, I mean, I feel like if you don't have a need and you're sure that you don't necessarily need a lawyer for that, you don't need to do a retainer. But if you need or you know that the line of work you do requires legal practitioners, you can put someone on a retainer.
We've heard of car insurance, property insurance, and other insurance. Are there legal insurance as well?
What do you mean by legal insurance?
Like, are they like, if someone cannot afford a lawyer, what is like the next line of call?
It's not called legal insurance. It's not called legal insurance. It's called legal aid. Okay. So there are some lawyers that NBA is Nigerian Bar Association for Lawyers. That's the umbrella body for lawyers. In every state, they have a committee that is in charge of legal aid, like for people that, like, let me say, they are indigent or they are vulnerable, or they are people that cannot afford legal services or representation. There are lawyers that have dedicated their life to like helping those people. And even a lot of lawyers also do pro bono. Not all lawyers that are collecting money from everybody actually collect money from all the people that approach them. Okay. So there are just sometimes that you pick up cases because probably, for example, you feel for them or their story is touching.
Really?
Yes, a lot of lawyers do pro bono. A lot of lawyers. It doesn't mean that they do pro bono every day. But once in a while, you see a pathetic person, maybe they have a landlord and tenant problem, and then they cannot be able to afford justice in that situation. The lawyer will take it up, okay, no problem, I'll do this for you. Give me the information and they step in. So lawyers do that, but it's called legal aid. And it's available in almost 30 states in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You've made law and legal, information very accessible, very easy for us to understand. How is it like? How was it for you, like transitioning into the content creation and making it easy for people to understand? And how are you making sure that you are dishing out the right information? Because you have a large audience of people that are actually watching you.
I won't lie. I feel honored when I see the quality of people that watch the law content I put out. Like, I go to places that I do not expect that anybody would even know my law content, and I see parents. I think the most humbling is humbling the word. I think the most.
Okay, we can work with humbling.
The most touching moment I ever had about my law content was someday I went to create content around the Ikeja, and there was this guy that is a special needs person, and for like 5 minutes he kept mumbling words, but like I couldn't pick it. So my guys that were around me was trying to like know, so I just told them to hold on, and I moved closer to the guy, and the guy was trying to say, what does the law say? I almost shed a tear. Like, I mean, this guy has special needs and he follows the content to even know the slogan of the content. It was so, I think it was a very sober moment for me.
Yeah.
And I've seen grandparents, I've seen parents, I've seen elderly people, young people to tell me about what I said, what they think. I went to host an event one day, and then it was judges, Supreme Court judges, like big people in the profession. And then one of them was a pastor. He's a pastor in a church. And he came to me and told me that, do I know that since the day I did a video about people that get married in church should ask their pastors for if the church has a license under the law to conduct marriage under the act, that they have been disturbing him in church, that Timi Agbaje said that he should ask you if you have license to conduct. It was beautiful. So yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for the opportunity and the privilege. I think it's a privilege. And I think a lot of research goes into it. I think a lot of people just see it from the jokes and it's content. It's a lot of research that goes into it. Like, I ask questions. Sometimes I argue with myself. I argue with my colleagues. I like, a lot of research goes there because every day you say something correctly in your videos as someone like me, for example, and shout out to people that are doing the medical content, banking, finance. There's a lot of people that do content that are professional according to their own professions and stuff. And every day you say a correct thing, everybody's normal. the day you ever make a mistake, the whole world wants to come at you.
Yeah.
Like I think there was this thing I saw from this chess guy a year back or two back. It says, he talked about fame. He said something about fame being beautiful, but people do not share you grace when you make mistakes or you're human.
That's
so
right.
like it feels like a duty to always show up, but not just showing up, but showing up correctly. So I think it's beautiful that people watch it. It's so beautiful that, I mean, I know how much work I put into it, but like the fact that people appreciate it means a lot to me. And also that inspires me to put in even extra work into what I do. And sometimes if I don't like what I said or what I did, I'm going to work on it. Like I'm very concerned about the quality of information, because I mean, you never can tell. Some people do not have access to enough internet or enough representation or information around you. You are their source of hope. So whatever you say, they believe. And you could be saving lives and you could be hurting lives too. So it's a responsibility.
Wow. But before we will soon pick from the Novice Dip, where, audience threw questions at, the law himself. But what are the 3 most important information you would like to give my audience that they should hold legally and be aware of all the time?
There is so much information that I think that every day, I think I've not made enough videos of information that I want to share with people. So for example, a lot of Nigerians don't know that not later than 3 years into your employment, proper employment, you're meant to have a term of service or a contract of employment that states the basics of what you're supposed to have. Then also people do not know that in Nigeria, as an employee, if you work as a tool on your mental health, you actually have an action under the law to get damages for mental stress from your employer.
Oh, I'm stressed.
A lot of people don't know. Also, people do not know that in Nigeria, a woman cannot be legally employed in work during the night, except she's in the health sector and it's an emergency. Maybe, for example, the work was interrupted that day and they have to do that, and it's not of a recurring nature, or the person is a manager and doesn't have to do manual labor. So, for example, most people that do 9 to 5, sometimes they are still at work around 11 p.m., around 12 a.m., still working, and it's like their everyday, like their day-to-day life. And the law says that a woman is not meant to be involved in all of those things. Like, as a woman, the law protects you. And nighttime in that thing is 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I feel like a lot of people do not know enough. Also, people do not know that in proper employment, for example, under the Pension Reform Act, you are meant to... There's so much. Okay, under the Pension Reform Act, I think that's of 2014, if your employer has 15 employees or more, that's like a proper standard employment, you are meant to have a pension or a retirement savings in terms of pension for when you leave that work. And it's so detailed under the law that if, for example, you resign or you are disengaged from that job and you're not able to get another employment, you have a right to recoup 25% of that money to survive for the meantime to your next employment. And the employment is something that your employer has to contribute to. You also have to complete. For example, your employer has to contribute like 10%. You, as the person that owns the retirement savings for the end of your retirement, so it's contribute like 8%. But it really does a lot of people even understand or know that there's a pension scheme that they deserve under the law according to the nature of employment. Also, health insurance. A lot of people do not know. In fact, under the National Health Insurance Authority Act of 2022, every resident of Nigeria shall have health insurance. And the residents are defined as people that are under the public service or employees and employers of the private sector, informal sector. In fact, vulnerable people that are not able to afford these things, the law provides that they should be provided for. Yeah. So I feel like there's so much information that people do not know that, I mean, I don't even know where to start from. There's a lot of information that people do not know.
So we should keep watching your videos.
Yeah, I'll do my best. And I see a lot of people also embracing, interpreting the law to people and breaking it down now. It's a very welcome development. The sky's enough for everybody to shine. And I feel like the more people, we can never have enough lawyers to cater for the needs of people.
Yeah.
There's always some people in some villages, in some cities, in some towns, some other states that they do not have access to this information. So it's just like evangelism. Because ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So all of us must commit ourselves to helping reduce the ignorance of the law. Yeah.
Go, Timi. So the Novice Dip, how many numbers? What's your favorite number?
I don't have a favorite number.
Okay, pick one number.
I just like life to go easy.
Oh yeah, pick one number now.
I feel like the smallest numbers are the easiest, number one.
We are not going to pick one.
Why? You say I should pick
From
one
1
number.
to 10, pick.
1 to 10. Okay, 1.
From 5 to 10.
What? Nah, that's wrong. This is how they spoil employment. We had an agreement now. Contract
From
of employment.
5 to
You tell
10.
me, say my work now from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
4 p.m.
you don't catch
say
me.
nothing for this like
5
make me
to
pass
10.
for. Now 9 p.m. You don't want me to go.
5 to 10.
5 to 10.
Yes.
You cannot change it. You have to sign that contract and I have to agree to it. All right, 5 to 10. I take 5.
5. Okay, so you're going to answer 5 questions.
I for pick minus 1 safe. All right, no problem.
So you just
5.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Why not slap the face when I see this thing? If police slap me and I slap them back, is that self-defense or suicide? Depending on the area and the time of the day this happens. All right, just kidding. If police slap me and I slap them back, is that self-defense or suicide? I think that people misuse these things, self-defense, all of these things. I'm not about to go into another area of self-defense because anytime I talk about self-defense, people always have questions and they always want to fight back and all. In this situation, if a police officer slaps you, the best thing is to get evidence of that and report them to the Police Service Commission or report them to their police station that's where they work or the next police station and get justice. I don't think it's smart for you to slap a police officer that has a rifle. It's already, for him to slap you, things are already getting heated and he has a gun. I mean, just stay alive, man. I don't want to say more than that.
Okay.
What is the legal difference between settlement and bribe? Because in Nigeria, the line is very blurry. What is the legal difference between settlement and a bribe? Because in Nigeria, the line is very blurry. Legal difference. I will not interpret or infuse or assume anything to this paper. Settlement means, for example, you are owing, Mr. A is owing Mr. B money. I don't have the money now, but I work in a factory and they pay us 1.5 every month. In the next 6 months, I'll be able to pay this money back to you, but I cannot pay you on the spot. You can draw a term of settlement for that payment plan to happen. That is settlement. Bribe, on the other side, is a crime under the law. In fact, according to, depending on the one, there is official corruption, there is bribery, one is 7 years. There are different types depending on what it happens. Bribe simply means that you are trying to turn the hand of legality in your favor. You see, that's like the simple interpretation of it. For example, somebody arrests you, catches you doing something wrong, and you don't want to pay punishment for that thing. You now bribe the person, say, Baba, beg, let me lock up and give them something. You are trying to turn the eyes, you are trying to turn the hand of the law to favor yourself. Yeah.
Wow.
Which, you understand?
So you guys don't bribe people. How many years again? 8 years.
Official corruption should be like 7 years, I think. Yeah. Is it wiser to call a lawyer or just call my rich uncle in Abuja? It is wiser to call a lawyer or just call my rich uncle in Nigeria. This question particularly tells to the ignorance of people. There are a lot of things that your rich uncle will not be able to solve for you. For example, you want to buy a property. Your rich uncle will not do it more than what a normal person would do. You need a lawyer to be able to investigate the title, to be able to be sure that you're not being scammed or you're adding money. So I feel like people think that you only need a lawyer only for when you get into trouble, when you have police case, for example. Like, there's so much plethora need for lawyers. Like, there's so much need for lawyers that this question, no, man.
Let me see. You're picking one more, right?
Oh, yeah, we can do it. Don't worry. I should.
What if I want to do all the things in the box?
And now, that is the point.
Oh,
now.
that's the point. I'll just probably skip the ones. So sorry. I'll just probably skip the ones I cannot answer or I don't like. Why do Nigerian courts move slower than NEPA restoring light after rain? Person who write this thing, they are not serious. So first thing, I think the Nigerian courts are overburdened. That's the first thing. And that's why the Nigerian courts now are trying to, they preach ADR. In fact, there are so many matters that cannot come to court without showing the court that you have tried to settle it amicably within yourselves, between yourselves before bringing it to court. The system can be better, but trust me, things are far better than it used to be. I'm not speaking for the profession because I'm a part of the profession, but I'm telling you that it can be better, but it's far better than it used to be. So ADR is alternative dispute resolution. The problem that we have as a people, not Nigerians, like generally people, is ego. Ego is the biggest enemy. In fact, there's a book about ego is the enemy.
Wow.
Because there's so many things that we can resolve amicably. but we want to use taxpayers' money. We want to use the system to fight the person. We want to show them that, yes, I will deal with you. So there was a situation one time that they were driving on the road and then one person hit the other person. Oh, I'm so sorry. How can I fix it? How can I do this? I know. Next thing, the woman left her car, called her husband, that somebody bashed her car, wanted to beat her up, attack her. That one came from where he was. She was like, why? I wanted to beat my wife, this and that. Before we knew it, it became a police case. Serious big case.
Wow.
And then I got there. I'm like, yo, what's going on? The guy was not listening to me. I know you, Baba, but I know they follow you talk. These people don't know. Easy, boss. What me the problem? Okay, can I see the car and see the damage and let's get it? But at least nobody beat anybody here and you can prove that. Anybody, they don't already talk, say they will deal with them and those boys, they want the shoes in them. These things can be solved easily. I saw the car. There was really nothing serious with the car.
Trust me.
There was really, I'm not even saying this because I had to come to medic. Like, I'm not asking that how much is going to sort it. I say, because everything don't happen now in Panabita, the money that he mentioned to fix that stuff was so, I didn't want to mention it, was so tiny. And then we all have to stress ourselves. So I feel like sometimes before we go to the court, easily reaching out to the person or calling someone that can call them to order, the pastor, their wife, their husband, their community leader, somebody around them. You know, in the olden days, before you take things to the king, you go to your area council or you call the chief of your area. There's always like a middle point before you go to the final place. So I feel like the courts are overburdened. There are cases in courts that are older than you and I in court till today.
Wow.
Yes, that the people that brought the case to court, they have died. Their children inherited the case on both sides. And they are suing themselves. And if they're not careful, they will die. Their own children too will also inherit them. And it's very common with land disputes, property issues. Like, now we first settle for this land. This one, they won't steal our land. And they drag it. I'm not saying that when people trample on your right or you feel a need for justice, you don't fight for it. But I feel like the reason why the courts are a bit slow is because they are overburdened. And half of these problems will not be there if, for example, we embrace alternative dispute resolution before we go to the court. And also, I believe that the professional also needs help. They know what I mean, yeah.
How many more?
I didn't even count. So
You're enjoying yourself.
but everything are like criminal crime, bad things. What was the first thing to do if you are arrested and your phone is seized? Jesus Christ. All right. China here, I write this thing. Because it be like saying just the same topic, they don't write for this thing.
It's not now, it's my audience.
Your audience.
Are you dragging them? They need to be educated now.
What was the first thing to do if you are arrested and your phone is seized? If you are arrested at the police station, if you are arrested and you're taken to police station and your phone is seized, I mean, they will ask you for your statement. You can call your lawyer or call somebody to be there. You put your statement. I'm sure that you write what you know that is the truth. If you are not sure what you want to write, call your lawyer, someone that knows better than you, and be there, and you get your phone back. They don't have a right to not give you your phone, except there is a crime that they are sure and they can prove, and there's an evidence and some warrant about that's on your phone. Yeah.
Thank you, our lawyer.
Jesus. In Nigeria, it feels the police are the judge, jury, and executioner. Why do we even bother going to court if they already decide your fate at the station? I do not agree. I also think that, to be fair to the police, we need to give them some kudos. To be fair to the police. So somebody asked something somewhere sometimes ago, are we really ready for a working country? Like, if things are to go the way they should go, are we ready to bear the consequences and the punishments and the fines? So the police does not have the right to be the judge, jury, and executioner. Obviously, they don't. Some bad eggs misuse the power, like it happens every time and everywhere in the world. Some bad eggs misuse the power, but the police does not have the power to be the judge, jury, and executioner. And what do you mean by why do you bother going to court if they already decide your fate at the station? There's nothing that the police can do that cannot be upturned at the court, except maybe, for example, they take somebody's life illegally, all those things. So the court will always supersede, and the court is the hope of the common man.
I believe why the person is asking is that most times when they catch someone and they just, you're gonna rot and sell, you're gonna, all those terms. Those
are empty threats most times. Okay. Although sometimes they go tell you slap. Police go actually slap you and actually oppress you sometimes. But like I feel like if you are unjustly treated by the police, if you follow up, you will get justice.
Wow.
It's stressful.
Are you sure?
Yes, I've seen it happen a couple times, times over. And the good thing now is social media has made a good opportunity for a lot of people all you need to do is have evidence and bring it online. You would get justice because the police also has a public relations image they are trying to keep. They are trying to keep that image of police is your friend. So when they see that, oh, these officers have crossed the line, they want to address that. They want to do better. I'm not saying the police is the best. I'm not saying that they are the best thing after gigi bread or ice cream. I'm just telling you that if you have evidence and you're unjustly treated, there is a process to it and you can get justice.
One more.
Okay. I hope it's not a police thing. I pray it's a money or goods, a prosperity something. Why does it feel like Nigerian billionaires don't go to jail? It's money, boys. I don't even know. They just travel and reappear later. Why does it feel like Nigerian billionaires don't go to jail? They just travel and reappear later. I'm not saying that you and I have not seen instances of people breaking the law and because they're popular or they are rich or they are big, they look like nobody touches them. I can also tell you for a fact that a lot of rich and influential people also face the law. But the only difference is that they face it silently. They handle their businesses privately. And they try to appear to you that they are untouchable, nothing's happening to them. But they actually face it privately. I've been to some government agencies before that you see people that are actually high and mighty. They come in quietly with their legal team. They sort out the problem, they address it, and they work on it. And nobody knows anything. And off social media, you see them the next day, they are posting. But people actually face the law. People actually face the law. But this jail matter, I don't understand when they say they just travel and they appear later. If you see a person who commits crime and you have evidence and the court don't already sentence him to prison, and you see the person for UK or US, report the person, come online, say, this guy is supposed to be in Kirikiri and he's on this place in maybe Woolwich or Birmingham or Portsmouth or Liverpool in London. You see the guy, the law should take its course. Yeah.
Ooh, thank you, Timi. Before we let you go, what if you're being evicted from, they've sent you a quick notice and they want to evict you from your house or your shop? That moment, what do you do?
So you're saying that they give you quick notice the moment your rent expired?
Yes.
It's not supposed to be like that. So depending on the type of tenancy that you operate, there is a prescribed arrangement under the law of how the notice to quit is supposed to come. So for example, if it's a yearly tenancy, it's supposed to be 6 months to the ending of that rent for your quit notice. If it's like, let's say 6 months, 3 months to the end of that stuff. If it's a 3-month tenancy, 1 month. If it's a monthly tenancy, 1 week. So it's always the type of tenancy that determines the
quick notice
length of time for the notice to quit. But it's not supposed to be when your rent has expired. They will not give you notice to quit to leave the place. In fact, when your rent has expired, depending on the state that you are, there are things that apply. I don't want to be teaching you lawyer gimmicks. So it's not correct. Now. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. Yeah, it's not right.
Okay, so we can sue our landlord, right?
I mean, yeah. Depending on the circumstances, like I always told you. Can we sue Nigeria for stress?
I mean, I need to sue somebody.
The problem is, if all of us sue the country for stress, who is going to pay for damages?
The government.
The government. Can we sue Nigeria for stress? This will be a very interesting matter in the court of law. Can we sue Nigeria for stress? I mean, yes, anybody can sue. Doesn't guarantee that you win or lose. Anybody can go to court and say they have a matter or they have a cause of action. But your winning is in the discretion of the judge. So anybody can sue. Yeah, you can sue. Why not? Sue. You can sue. Anybody can sue anybody. Yeah.
So, Timi, this has been a masterclass. In fact, my audience would have learned a lot. But can you give us just a word or 2 words for Nigerians who feel powerless and they feel like they cannot win at that moment?
I won't lie. If you feel powerless sometimes in the country, you probably have a reason to. So what I think I would advise people to do is to understand the system and learn the laws and know how to protect themselves. You know, when you operate from a position of knowledge and understanding, you have an advantage. So, for example, nowhere in the world when people will not try to cheat you or try to get ahead of you, you need to understand your own rights and know how to protect them. So, for example, there are bad landlords everywhere in the world. It's just the laws and the system that protects the tenants. And there are also bad tenants. Because I think that we don't talk about that enough. Like, there are some tenants that are terrible. Like they will use the house in the way that another tenant will not want to live in that place. So I feel like on both sides, employee and employer, there are some employees that are thieves. Like I was in a master class recently, and then the woman talked about how she was in a pain that she could not share with anybody for months. She was almost crying that her employees stole over 100 million from her business in a year. A lot of any business that you do that they steal 100 million from you, you will feel it.
Wow.
So we have bad employers, good employers. We have bad employees and good employees. So just understand your rights and how to protect them, and just stay ahead, because there are bad people everywhere and there are good people everywhere. Nigeria is a very blessed country. We have a lot of amazing people. Trust me, Nigeria is a beautiful country, blessed country. So the final thing I would say, I think that's all. Thank you for having me in Nairametrics. It's a big honor being here. Before you sign that employment contract, be sure that your contract states specifically your compensation, termination, vacational leave, nature of your employment, the place your employment is happening, the timing, the specific nature of what you're doing, how you're doing and what you're expected to do, what other things are supposed to be there, and maybe other benefits are supposed to come for your employment. Yeah.
It's a wrap, guys. But wait, don't just leave law for the lawyers. Use it and learn it. Till another episode, I remain your host, Tolu. Bye, guys.